Here you are, right now, in this very moment, and it's no accident. Something inside you led you to these words, to this message, and that something was your own inner wisdom calling out for exactly what you need. There's a beautiful truth I've learned over the years, and it's that when we're truly ready for change, when our hearts are open to healing, the universe has a way of placing exactly the right tools in our path at exactly the right time. You might be feeling lost right now, or perhaps you're carrying some heaviness in your heart that you're ready to release. Maybe you've been searching for something, though you're not quite sure what it is. Or perhaps you're sensing that there's more joy, more love, more abundance available to you, but you haven't quite figured out how to open that door. Whatever has brought you here, please know that your timing is perfect, and your readiness to receive is exactly where it needs to be. The beautiful thing about this moment is that you don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to understand exactly how transformation works or why certain practices can shift our entire reality. You simply need to be willing, and that willingness is already shining through in the fact that you're here, open to possibilities you may not have considered before. Life has a way of preparing us for our breakthroughs, sometimes through challenges that initially feel overwhelming. Those difficult moments, those times when we feel stuck or uncertain, are often the universe's way of softening our resistance and opening our hearts to new ways of being. When we reach that place where we're truly ready for change, when we're willing to try something different, that's when the magic begins to unfold. What you're about to discover is both incredibly simple and profoundly powerful. It's a practice that requires nothing more than a pen, some paper, and a few minutes of your time. Yet within this simplicity lies the potential for deep, lasting transformation. The practice itself connects us to an ancient wisdom about how our minds work, how our hearts heal, and how our entire reality can shift when we align our conscious intentions with the deeper currents of our being. There's something sacred about the moments when we recognize that we've found exactly what we were searching for, even when we didn't know we were searching. This recognition often comes with a gentle stirring in the heart, a sense of coming home to something we've always known but perhaps forgotten. Trust that feeling, because it's your inner guidance system letting you know you're on the right path. Your life has been moving toward this moment of readiness through every experience, every challenge, every small victory. All of it has been preparing you to receive and work with the simple yet powerful practice that's about to unfold. The struggles you've faced have softened your resistance. The questions you've been asking have opened your mind. The longing in your heart has created space for new possibilities to take root and grow. Right now, as you take this in, notice that something inside you is already beginning to shift. There's a part of you that recognizes truth when you hear it, and that part is awakening to the possibilities that lie ahead. This is your heart's wisdom, and it's been patiently waiting for you to be ready to listen and act. The practice you're about to learn works because it honors the way we're truly designed to change and grow. Our minds and hearts don't transform through force or pressure, but through gentle, consistent attention to new ways of thinking and being. When we approach our inner work with patience and love, when we create the right conditions for growth, our entire system begins to respond in beautiful ways. There's also something magical about practices that engage our whole being, our thoughts, our emotions, our physical bodies. When we write by hand, when we focus our attention with intention, when we repeat words that carry the energy of transformation, we're creating a full-body experience of change. This is how lasting shifts happen, not just in our thinking, but in the very fabric of how we experience ourselves and our world. The second beautiful truth about transformation is that it happens through repetition. through the patient, loving practice of new ways of being. Just as a river carves a canyon through steady, persistent flow, our new thoughts and intentions can carve new pathways in our consciousness when we give them the gift of consistent attention. There's ancient wisdom in the practice of repetition that goes far beyond what our modern minds might initially understand. When we repeat something with intention and presence, we're not just trying to convince ourselves of something new. We're actually creating new neural pathways, new emotional responses, and new energetic patterns that begin to shift our entire experience of life. Think about how a seed grows into a mighty tree. It doesn't happen through one dramatic moment of change, but through countless small moments of growth, each one building upon the last. The seed receives water drop by drop, sunlight ray by ray, and slowly but surely transforms into something magnificent. Our consciousness works in much the same way. Each repetition of a healing thought is like another drop of water, another ray of sunlight, nourishing the growth of our new reality. The power of repetition also lies in how it works with our subconscious mind, that vast storehouse of beliefs, patterns, and automatic responses that shapes so much of our daily experience. Our subconscious mind is like fertile soil, and for too long, many of us have been planting seeds of doubt, fear, and limitation. But when we consciously choose to plant new seeds through repetitive practice, we begin to grow an entirely different garden of possibilities. There's something deeply satisfying about engaging our hands in the process of transformation. When we write by hand, we're activating different areas of our brain than when we simply think or speak. The physical act of forming letters and words creates a bridge between our conscious intentions and our deeper patterns of being. It's as though our hands become messengers, carrying our heart's deepest desires directly into our subconscious mind. The rhythm of writing, the feel of pen on paper, the physical movement of our hand across the page, all of this creates a meditative quality that helps us move beyond our analytical mind and into a space where real change can occur. It's in this space of flow and presence that our new patterns begin to take root and grow. Repetition also teaches us patience with the process of change. In our fast-paced world, we often expect immediate results, but true transformation happens in its own time, according to its own rhythm. When we commit to a practice of repetition, we're learning to trust the process, to show up consistently, even when we can't yet see the full results of our efforts. Each time we repeat our chosen words with intention, we're sending a message of love and possibility to every cell in our body, every corner of our consciousness. We're saying, "This is who I choose to be. This is the reality I choose to experience. This is the love I choose to embody." And with each repetition, our entire being begins to align more fully with that choice. Before we dive into the specific practice, it's important to create the right inner environment for this work to flourish. Just as a gardener prepares the soil before planting seeds, we want to prepare our hearts and minds to receive the full benefits of what we're about to do together. Creating sacred space doesn't require elaborate rituals or special tools. It simply means approaching this practice with the reverence and attention it deserves. When we treat our inner work as sacred, when we approach it with respect and love, we create conditions that allow transformation to happen more easily and naturally. Take a moment to settle into yourself, to arrive fully in this experience. Let your breathing slow down naturally and allow any tension you might be carrying to gently melt away. Notice that simply by bringing your attention to your breath, something inside you begins to relax and open. If there's any part of you that feels skeptical or resistant to this process, that's perfectly natural and welcome. Skepticism often arises when we're about to try something new, something that challenges our familiar ways of thinking and being. Rather than fighting this resistance, we can acknowledge it with kindness and curiosity. Sometimes our resistance is simply our mind's way of protecting us from disappointment, and we can appreciate that protective instinct while still choosing to move forward with openness. The beautiful thing about the practice you're about to learn is that it doesn't require you to believe anything in particular or to change your entire worldview overnight. It simply asks you to be willing to try something new, to approach your inner world with curiosity and care. Your openness is enough. Your willingness is sufficient. As you prepare for this practice, also take a moment to release any pressure you might be putting on yourself to do it perfectly or to see immediate dramatic results. Transformation is often subtle at first, showing up in small shifts in how you feel, how you respond to challenges, or how you see yourself and your possibilities. Trust that even small changes are significant because they're the foundation upon which larger transformations are built. The space you're creating right now is a space of permission. Permission to try something new, permission to hope for change, permission to believe that your life can be different than it has been. This permission is a gift you give yourself, and it's one of the most powerful tools for transformation that exists. Within this space of permission and openness, you're also creating room for your own inner wisdom to emerge. You have within you a knowing that transcends any practice or technique, a wisdom that knows exactly what you need for your growth and healing. The practice we're about to explore is simply a way of creating conditions for that wisdom to surface and guide you forward. Now let's explore something truly beautiful about how we're designed as human beings, the intricate connection between our thoughts, our emotions, and our physical reality. This connection is far more profound than most of us realize, and understanding it helps us see why the simple practice of writing can create such powerful shifts in our lives. Every thought you think sends ripples through your entire being. When you have a loving thought about yourself, that thought doesn't just stay in your head. It travels through your emotional body, creating feelings of warmth and acceptance. Those feelings then influence your physical body, perhaps relaxing tension you didn't even know you were carrying, or bringing a gentle smile to your face. This is the beautiful dance of consciousness, thoughts becoming feelings, becoming physical sensations, becoming new realities. The reverse is also true. When we carry thoughts of criticism or doubt, they create emotional states of anxiety or sadness, which then manifest in our bodies as tension, fatigue, or discomfort. Our bodies are constantly responding to the quality of our thinking, and this response shapes not only how we feel, but how we show up in the world and what we attract into our experience. What makes this even more fascinating is that our subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between what we think consciously and what we think repeatedly. If we've been thinking the same limiting thoughts for years, our subconscious has accepted them as truth and has organized our entire system around supporting those beliefs. But here's the beautiful part. Our subconscious is also completely open to accepting new truths when they're presented consistently and with genuine intention. This is where the bridge between conscious intention and subconscious programming becomes so important. Our conscious mind can decide we want to change, can understand why change would be beneficial, can even feel excited about new possibilities. But lasting transformation happens when our conscious intentions penetrate deep enough to reach our subconscious programming, and that's where practices like writing come in. When we write by hand, something magical happens in our brain. Different neural networks activate than when we simply think or type. The motor cortex that controls hand movement connects with areas responsible for learning and memory in ways that create deeper pathways for new information. Writing engages our kinesthetic intelligence, our visual processing, and our linguistic centers simultaneously, creating a rich, multidimensional experience that our brain interprets as especially important. There's also an energy exchange that happens between our heart, our mind, and our hand when we write with intention. Our heart generates its own electromagnetic field, one that's actually stronger than the field generated by our brain. When we write from a place of genuine intention, when our heart is truly engaged in the process, that heart energy flows through our arm and hand, infusing our words with a vibrational quality that our subconscious recognizes and responds to. This is why writing by hand feels different from typing, why love letters written by hand touch us more deeply than emails, why journaling with pen and paper often brings insights that don't come when we try to process our thoughts on a screen. We're engaging our whole being in the act of creation, and that wholeness is what allows real transformation to occur. The hand itself carries its own wisdom. In many healing traditions, the hands are seen as extensions of the heart, capable of channeling healing energy. When we write healing words with conscious intention, we're literally channeling love and possibility through our hands onto the page, creating a physical manifestation of our desire for change. Your nervous system also responds differently to handwriting than to other forms of communication. The rhythm of writing, the flow of ink on paper, the physical engagement required, all of this activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your autonomic nervous system responsible for rest, restoration, and healing. This means that the very act of writing with intention creates the optimal physiological state for receiving and integrating new patterns of thinking and being. The practice you're about to engage with works precisely because it honors all of these connections between thought and feeling, between conscious intention and subconscious programming, between mind and body, between heart and hand. It's a practice that works with your natural design rather than against it, creating the conditions for deep and lasting change. Now, the time has come to share with you the specific words that carry such transformative power, the phrase that you'll be writing 10 times as your sacred practice. These words have been chosen not just for their meaning, but for their vibrational quality, for their ability to speak directly to your subconscious mind and heart. The phrase is this: I choose to love and approve of myself. These 7 simple words contain within them the seed of every positive change you could ever want to make in your life. They address the foundation of all healing, the cornerstone of all transformation, your relationship with yourself. When this relationship is healed, when it's based in love and approval rather than criticism and judgment, everything else in your life begins to shift naturally and beautifully. The word choose is particularly powerful because it acknowledges your agency, your ability to make conscious decisions about how you treat yourself. So often we operate on automatic pilot, responding to ourselves the way we learned to respond years ago, perhaps in childhood. But the word choose reminds us that we have options, that we can select love over criticism, approval over judgment, kindness over harshness. Love is the most healing force in the universe. When we truly love ourselves, we create an internal environment where growth and positive change happen naturally. Love dissolves resistance, melts old patterns, and opens us to possibilities we never imagined. Self-love isn't selfish or narcissistic. It's the foundation of our ability to love others authentically and to contribute our gifts to the world. Approve speaks to acceptance, to saying yes to yourself as you are right now, even as you're growing and changing. Approval doesn't mean we stop evolving or improving. but rather that we stop making our self-worth conditional on reaching some future state of perfection. When we approve of ourselves, we create the security and confidence that actually makes positive change easier and more joyful. Together, these words create a vibrational frequency that resonates with the deepest truth of who you are. Beneath all the layers of conditioning, beneath all the stories you've told yourself about your limitations or failures, there is a part of you that has always known you are worthy of love and approval. This phrase awakens that knowing and gives it permission to guide your life. The beauty of this particular affirmation is that it doesn't ask you to believe anything that isn't true. You do have the ability to choose. Love is available to you in this moment. Approval is a gift you can give yourself right now. These aren't abstract concepts or impossible ideals. They're practical realities that become more natural and automatic the more you consciously choose them. As you prepare to work with these words, notice how they feel in your body when you read them or speak them quietly to yourself. You might feel a sense of relief, as though some tight place inside you is beginning to relax. Or you might feel some resistance, some part of you that says, "But I don't know how to love myself," or "I'm not sure I deserve approval." Both responses are perfectly natural and welcome. If resistance arises, simply acknowledge it with compassion. Resistance often shows up when we're about to do something that could truly change our lives. It's our psyche's way of protecting us from the unknown, and we can appreciate that protective impulse while still choosing to move forward with our practice. Now we come to the sacred ritual itself, the simple yet profound practice of writing these transformative words 10 times. This isn't just about putting pen to paper. It's about creating a ceremony of love, a ritual of self-acceptance that has the power to shift your entire reality. Find a quiet space where you won't be interrupted for the next few minutes. Gather a pen that feels good in your hand and paper that feels special to you. It doesn't need to be expensive or elaborate. What matters is that you're treating this practice with the reverence it deserves. Some people like to use a special notebook dedicated just to this kind of inner work. Others prefer simple lined paper. Trust what feels right for you. Before you begin writing, take 3 slow, deep breaths. With each breath, feel yourself settling more fully into your body, into this moment, into the intention you're setting. Place your hand on your heart for a moment and feel the steady rhythm of your heartbeat. This is the rhythm of life itself, and you're about to align your practice with this natural pulse of vitality and love. The number 10 carries special significance in the realm of manifestation and transformation. 10 represents completion and new beginnings simultaneously. It's the number that bridges one cycle and the next, making it perfect for the kind of work we're doing together. Writing your affirmation 10 times gives your subconscious mind enough repetition to begin creating new neural pathways while not overwhelming your system with more than it can easily integrate. As you prepare to write your first line, "I choose to love and approve of myself," notice the quality of your attention. This isn't about rushing through to get it done, but about being fully present with each word as you form it. Write slowly enough that you can feel the meaning of each word as it flows from your pen. With your first repetition, you might notice your mind trying to analyze or judge the process. Simply smile at your mind's commentary and gently return your attention to the words you're writing. Let each letter be formed with intention, each word be a gift you're giving to yourself. As you write the second and third lines, begin to notice how your body responds. You might feel a subtle softening somewhere, or perhaps a sense of coming home to yourself. Some people notice their breathing naturally deepens. Others feel a gentle warmth in their chest. There's no right or wrong way to respond. Simply notice and appreciate whatever arises. By the fourth and fifth repetitions, you may find yourself settling into a rhythm that feels almost meditative. The act of writing these loving words begins to create its own momentum, its own flow. This is your nervous system relaxing into the practice, your subconscious mind beginning to receive and consider these new thoughts. The middle repetitions, 6, 7, and 8, often bring the deepest insights or the strongest resistance. If difficult emotions arise, breathe through them with compassion. Sometimes our hearts need to release old pain before they can fully receive new love. Let whatever comes up be part of the healing process. As you approach the final 2 repetitions, write them with special intention and gratitude. You're completing a cycle of love, finishing a ceremony of self-acceptance. With your 9th line, appreciate how far you've already come in just these few minutes. With your 10th and final line, seal this practice with the intention that these words will continue working in your consciousness long after the pen leaves the paper. When you've finished writing, don't immediately rush to the next thing. Sit quietly for a moment with your paper in front of you. Look at what you've created. 10 lines of love, 10 affirmations of your own worth, 10 conscious choices to treat yourself with kindness. This is tangible evidence of your commitment to your own healing and growth. Something beautiful begins to happen the moment you complete your 10th line. Even if you can't feel it immediately, a subtle shift has already begun in your energy field, in your consciousness, in the very fabric of how you relate to yourself. This shift might be so gentle at first that your logical mind doesn't register it, but your heart knows, your body knows, your spirit knows that something sacred has just taken place. The energy shifts that occur through this practice happen on multiple levels simultaneously. On the physical level, your nervous system has just experienced several minutes of self-compassion and intentional focus. This activates healing responses throughout your body, releasing tension you may have been carrying for years. Your brain has begun forming new neural pathways associated with self-love and acceptance, pathways that will strengthen each time you repeat this practice. On the emotional level, you've just given yourself a profound gift, the experience of being truly heard and honored by the most important person in your life, you. Even if part of you still doubts these words, another part recognizes their truth and begins to expand in response. This expansion might feel like a gentle opening in your chest, a softening around your heart, or simply a sense that something that was tight has begun to loosen. Many people notice changes in how they speak to themselves in the hours and days following this practice. That inner critic that once dominated your mental space may still be there, but it no longer seems quite so loud or convincing. In its place, a gentler voice begins to emerge, the voice of your own loving wisdom, offering encouragement instead of criticism, hope instead of judgment. You might also notice shifts in how you respond to challenging situations. When something doesn't go as planned, instead of immediately attacking yourself with harsh words, you may find yourself pausing, taking a breath, and choosing a kinder response. This is your new programming beginning to take hold, your subconscious mind starting to default to love rather than fear. The energy of self-love that you've activated through your writing practice has its own intelligence, its own ability to heal and transform areas of your life that you weren't even consciously working on. You might find that relationships become easier, that creative inspiration flows more freely, that opportunities seem to appear more readily. This isn't magic in the supernatural sense. It's the natural result of aligning with love rather than resistance. Some people experience what feels like a gentle cleansing process in the days following this practice. Old emotions may surface to be released, dreams may become more vivid, or you might find yourself naturally wanting to make healthier choices in various areas of your life. All of this is your system's way of clearing out old patterns to make room for the new energy of self-acceptance you've invited in. The transformation happening within you also begins to affect how others respond to you. When we truly love and approve of ourselves, we emanate a different energy, one of confidence, peace, and authenticity. People are naturally drawn to this energy because it gives them permission to love and accept themselves as well. You become a living example of what's possible when we choose love over criticism. Trust whatever you're experiencing, even if it seems subtle or different from what you expected. Transformation rarely happens the way our minds think it should. Sometimes the most profound changes begin as tiny shifts in perspective that gradually reshape our entire reality. Honor your unique process and allow it to unfold in its own perfect timing. Even as you celebrate these positive shifts, it's completely natural to encounter some resistance along the way. Our minds and hearts don't always embrace change gracefully, even when that change is clearly beneficial. Resistance isn't a sign that you're doing something wrong, quite the opposite. It often indicates that you're touching something deep and significant, something that truly has the power to transform your life. Resistance might show up as doubt about the process itself. Your logical mind might say things like, "This is too simple to work," or "I need to do something more complicated for real change to happen." When these thoughts arise, remember that the most profound truths are often beautifully simple. The complexity isn't in the practice itself, but in the layers of conditioning we're gently dissolving through consistent, loving attention. Sometimes resistance appears as a voice that says you don't deserve love or approval, that you haven't earned the right to treat yourself kindly. This voice often carries the echoes of old wounds, past experiences where love felt conditional or approval seemed impossible to attain. When this voice speaks, listen with compassion, but don't let it make your decisions. You can acknowledge these old fears while still choosing to move forward with your practice. Physical resistance might manifest as restlessness when you sit down to write, or a tendency to rush through the words without really connecting with their meaning. This is simply your nervous system adjusting to a new way of being. Breathe through any discomfort and gently guide yourself back to presence and intention. The inner critic that may have guided your life for so long doesn't disappear overnight, and that's perfectly okay. Instead of fighting with this part of yourself, try approaching it with curiosity and compassion. Often, our inner critic developed as a way of protecting us from disappointment or rejection. Thank this part of yourself for trying to keep you safe, and then gently explain that you're choosing a different approach now, one based on love rather than fear. Resistance often signals that we're approaching a breakthrough, that we're touching the edges of a pattern that's ready to transform. When you notice resistance arising, see it as confirmation that you're doing important work. Breathe into it, move through it with gentleness, and keep returning to your practice with patience and love. Remember that resistance is temporary, but the love you're cultivating through this practice is eternal. Every time you choose to write these words despite feeling resistant, you're strengthening your ability to choose love in all areas of your life. You're developing the spiritual muscle that allows you to respond to challenges with grace rather than reactivity. If resistance feels particularly strong on any given day, you might modify your practice slightly. Perhaps write the words more slowly, or speak them aloud as you write them, or place your free hand on your heart as you form each letter. Trust your intuition about what you need to support yourself through any difficulty that arises. The beautiful thing about this practice is that it begins to create its own momentum. The more you write these words of self-love, the more natural they become. What might feel forced or artificial at first gradually becomes a genuine expression of your truest nature. This is integration happening, the process by which new thoughts and beliefs become woven into the fabric of your everyday experience. Integration means taking the energy and insights from your writing practice and allowing them to inform how you move through your daily life. You might notice yourself making different choices, choosing the healthier meal, setting a boundary with kindness but firmness, or speaking up for yourself in situations where you once remained silent. These changes aren't forced. They arise naturally from your growing foundation of self-love and acceptance. The practice of writing, "I choose to love and approve of myself" 10 times can become an anchor in your day, a return to center when life feels chaotic or overwhelming. Some people choose to do this practice first thing in the morning, setting a loving intention for the day ahead. Others prefer evening, using it as a way to forgive themselves for any perceived mistakes and reset their energy for restorative sleep. You might also find yourself naturally creating other supportive practices that complement your writing ritual. Perhaps you begin speaking more kindly to yourself in the mirror, or you start a gratitude journal, or you notice yourself choosing activities that truly nourish your soul rather than just filling time. This is your consciousness expanding to accommodate more love and joy in every area of your life. Pay attention to the small miracles that begin showing up as you continue this practice. A compliment from a stranger, an unexpected opportunity, a creative idea that excites you, a moment of deep peace in the middle of a busy day. These are all reflections of the love you're cultivating within yourself. The universe has a way of mirroring back to us the energy we're putting out, and as you become more loving toward yourself, you'll notice life becoming more loving toward you. The practice also strengthens your ability to catch negative self-talk before it gains momentum. When you notice your mind beginning to criticize or judge, you can immediately redirect it back to love. This becomes easier and more automatic as your new neural pathways deepen through consistent practice. Integration isn't just about changing how you think, it's about changing how you feel in your own skin. As self-love becomes more natural, you'll notice a growing sense of ease and confidence in how you navigate the world. You'll find yourself taking healthy risks, trying new things, and trusting your own judgment more readily. The ripple effects of this internal shift touch every relationship in your life. When you're no longer looking to others to provide the love and approval you're learning to give yourself, your relationships become more authentic and fulfilling. You can love others more freely because you're not dependent on their response to feel worthy. You can receive their love more fully because you're not constantly questioning whether you deserve it. Remember that integration is a gradual process. Be patient with yourself as these new patterns take root and grow. Some days, the old ways of thinking might feel stronger than others, and that's completely normal. What matters is that you keep returning to your practice, keep choosing love, keep writing those beautiful words that remind you of your inherent worth. As we come to the completion of this journey together, I want you to take a moment to appreciate the courage it took for you to be here, to be open to trying something new, to be willing to treat yourself with greater love and kindness. This willingness is actually a form of wisdom, the recognition that you deserve to feel good about yourself, that your life can be filled with more joy and peace than you've previously experienced. The practice you've learned today is deceptively simple, yet it contains within it the power to transform your entire relationship with yourself and consequently your entire experience of life. Every time you write, "I choose to love and approve of myself" 10 times, You're sending a message of love to every cell in your body, every corner of your consciousness, every aspect of your being. This practice doesn't require you to be perfect or to love yourself completely before you begin. It simply asks you to be willing to try, to show up for yourself with consistency and compassion. The love will grow naturally as you continue to water it with your attention and intention. Please remember that change happens in its own perfect timing. Some shifts you'll notice immediately, others may take weeks or months to fully unfold. Trust the process, trust your own innate wisdom, and trust that every time you choose love over criticism, you're contributing to your own healing and to the healing of our world. Your willingness to love yourself is actually a gift to everyone whose life you touch. When we learn to treat ourselves with kindness, we naturally extend that kindness to others. When we approve of ourselves, we become less judgmental of those around us. When we choose love for ourselves, we become beacons of possibility for others who are struggling to find their own way to self-acceptance. The words you've written today will continue working in your consciousness long after you've put down your pen. They've been planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind, where they'll take root and grow in ways that support your highest good. Trust this process, even when you can't see immediate evidence of change. I encourage you to make this practice a regular part of your life, not because you have to, but because you deserve to feel loved and approved of by the most important person in your life, you. Whether you do this daily, weekly, or whenever you feel called to return to these healing words, know that each time you engage in this practice, you're choosing love, you're choosing growth, you're choosing to be your own best friend rather than your own worst critic. The universe conspires to support us when we align with love, and by learning to love and approve of yourself, you're stepping into alignment with the most powerful force in existence. From this place of self-love, all things become possible. Dreams you thought were beyond reach begin to feel attainable. Relationships you thought were impossible begin to unfold naturally. Joy you thought was reserved for others begins to bloom in your own heart. You found this message for a reason, and that reason is that you're ready. Ready to try a new way of relating to yourself. Ready to discover what life feels like when it's built on a foundation of self-love rather than self-criticism. Ready to write your way to a more loving, peaceful, and joy-filled existence. Take with you the knowledge that you have everything you need within you right now to transform your life. You have the wisdom to know what you need, the strength to choose love even when it feels challenging, and the beautiful capacity to grow and change in ways that serve your highest good. The pen is in your hands. The paper is before you. The words are waiting to be written. And most importantly, your heart is ready to receive the love you're about to give it. Trust yourself, trust this process, and most of all, trust that you are worthy of all the love and approval you could ever need or want. Your journey of self-love begins now, one word at a time, one line at a time, one choice at a time. And with each choice to love and approve of yourself, you're not just changing your own life. You're contributing to a world where love wins, where kindness prevails, and where every person remembers their inherent worth and beauty. This is your time. These are your words. This is your love story with yourself, and it's going to be beautiful.